Welcome to my channel, SteveO the Window Cleaner. Today I'm going to show you how I set up my water fed pole for pure water cleaning. So all we're going to go over is I'm going to take my SteveOnator pole. I got a lot of old hosing in it and just a lot of stuff that I want to replace. I broke my walnut paddle holder, little stem. So I'm just going to go through the whole pole. I'm going to clean the pole real quick, just kind of give the sections a wipe down, give you a real brief overview of that, and then just give you a brief overview of kind of what I'm doing through the whole pole to set it up. I think this will be a great video for any newbies that just are setting up their water fed pole and have any questions. This will just be a walkthrough from basically where you plug your hose into, to the hose that's coming from your system, and all the way to the brush, and then some of the accessories that go on the brush. Let's get going. Okay, so here's my pole I usually use. This is my SteveOnator 30 foot here, and I have the 40 foot sleeves off, the two sleeves that make it to that. So then what I'm gonna do first is, this is kind of some of the older hosing and stuff. So all I do to take this out right is just release that. Then I got the hosing I'm gonna bring to the top. Then I just wanna release this from down here. Make sure that there's no knots in this. I haven't been doing a whole lot of water fed pole work lately, just because it's cold with the holidays and took some time off, so it's been nice, but I have some stuff coming up, so I said, you know what, I'm gonna get myself a new 100 feet of hose and just get some new attachments and get this all ready for spring. Because, you know, starting in February, sometimes you can start getting a good amount of stuff, but it really takes, you know, till March to really get going. So we'll talk about all these things kind of as we go, but just detach that, so that the easiest way to always take this hose out is just like so, through the tap. All right, perfect. So you pull that hose out. We're not gonna use this old hose at all, so I'm gonna detach it from this. Sometimes this can be a real pain in the butt, is taking this off. Let me get my vice grips out here. It damages that, but I'm okay with it. They're a very cheap part, so I crank my angle adapters really pretty hard on this so that it doesn't come on twisted when working. I'm going to just cut this Univalve out. I'm actually just going to get rid of this hose altogether. It's been a great hose. I just wanted to change it out for a longer length of hose coming out of the pole. So I'm gonna have 100 feet of the 5/16 Xero hose coming from the pole to my 3/8 hose. I just want some longer, lighter weight hose going to that. It might reduce a little bit of output, a little bit, but I'm willing to do it. I'd be fine with like, you know, X2 or World 1 or anything like that. So after that, we will use this tip again. It's not too bad. I did replace that just a little bit recently. So I just realized that I have no more of these. This is basically, what is this? It's a low profile clamp for your hose to attach your Univalve. So we're actually gonna use this one over again. I've had this particular one now for 4 years. So these work really, really nice, these Univalves. And remember, the Univalve is just to turn the water on and off. We'll get back to this later though, because I kind of want to walk through just the whole entire pole here. Okay, so this is how the complete SteveOnator T40 looks. This is about 1.5 years old, so some of this color has started to happen. I mainly use it as a 30 foot, so if you slide these two sections off, you can use it as a 30 foot, and any section on this has an end defender. And what I mean by that is that this is pretty done right here, I mean, but it's still effective, is that at the end, and you'll see right here, if I extend this out a little bit, I don't know if you can see the lip that's right there. So that's the plastic end defender that's basically protecting that carbon fiber so that it doesn't start shredding up. So every single section of this pole has that. So you have one on every single section so that you can just take this apart all the way down to one section if you want. I would just stick with at least 2 sections out there. And then you have a trad pole too. I've really taken that through some trees, but just a label trad pole for fun. But every section there is gonna have an end defender. So there's a lot of moisture in this pole right now. So what I'm gonna do right now is go through this whole pole and basically just wipe all the sections down, just real quick. And one other good thing just to note about these clamps is they are all bolt-on clamps. So you're just gonna unbolt that with an Allen wrench and then be able to move that off. None of these are glued on, so they're very easy to change. All these Xero poles are warranted for 3 years, so you get warranty on the sections and the clamps. So if you just need a new clamp and your clamp is broken, we just send you a new complete clamp. So that's pretty nice. You don't have to put the lever on and all that stuff. So only section that I always clean is always the outer. So I just literally go through it and just wipe this down. And this helps like dirt not to be trapped in there at all. Wipe out the clamp, just good. I'm not like overly particular about this step. I'm pretty good with my poles in the first place of keeping them clean, but it's a good thing to do. Okay, all the sections are wiped down. So we'll just put this back together real quickly. Best way to start to put like a water fed pole back together with this is just start with the top section and work your way down. If you need to, you can loosen these dials a little bit to relieve a little bit of tension there, but if you open up the lever fully, you should be absolutely fine as far as that goes. And then just close those, and so on and so on. Okay, so boom, pole's back together. The tip that's gonna go in this, we'll get back to that. We're gonna add the tip to the hose first, and then we will put the hose into the pole. Okay, we got 100 feet of brand new Xero hose here. So this is what I'm gonna attach to my pole. When you get brand new Xero hose or hose like this, it's gonna be a little bit sticky for a little bit until you use it. Once you start using it, get a little bit dirty. It's gonna just be real relaxed. Like I can't reach my hose back there, but it just gets really relaxed after a bit. But I hear some people when they first get like, oh, it's sticky, and that's okay. It doesn't have too much crazy memory or anything like that, but it's super nice. First thing we'll do, we'll just get this untangled. Okay, got the hose all good there. I always, let's see here, with these tips. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this on first. There's many different tips for water fed poles that are going to fit into the tops of many poles. Some don't always have something like this to bring the hose up through. So you see it has a hole, so you're gonna put the hose up in there, come out of here. Some won't have that, and you just run the hose externally. A lot of the things I'm gonna do right now with installing the Univalve and stuff will not be used for anything if you use it externally. Univalve is not good for external use. It's gonna cause you a lot of issues. That's why the Univalve that I'll install is just good for inside hose use. But basically what I'm saying here, there's other manufacturers out there that create just a whole piece that go all the way as an angle adapter and the stem that goes into the pole. But for the Xero poles, what I'm showing you right now is that this is the main piece that's gonna go down in the pole to attach the brush and pretty much to attach everything else. So when you do this, if you just kind of keep spinning it, it just comes out of there, okay? So I like about that much hose out, okay? So to install this Univalve, What I'm first going to do is I'm going to put one of these right down into here. You can do this with like the hose clamps too, the smallest hose clamps that you can buy from like a hardware store. Those work as well. Sometimes they actually work a little bit better as far as putting a little bit more in this area so that when you pull the hose, the Univalve activates a little easier, if you ask me, with that. Spend all the time getting this down. Okay, that is enough hose for that. So then all you're gonna do just to secure that more to the hose is, I love vice grips. Just going to clamp down a little bit and then clamp down on your sides, just like that. Okay. So it basically just looks like that. So it's not pinching the hose right, it's just pinching enough that when you are tugging, this hose isn't coming back through that little clamp or coming back through this tip. So then with these poles, if you're installing a Univalve, I would just put it like this far down. So you'll just, and you want to make a straight cut just like that. So now you have two sides here. So one of the most important parts is that the side that comes out, got a little bit of water in there. The side that comes out where you're pulling, that's going to face down. The side that doesn't have anything that goes in and out, that's going to face up towards the brush. Let me just take these little things off of here real quick. Razor blade. Okay, and we're gonna save this rusty old clamp here. We're gonna use it. Used it for 4 years and it still works, so why not still use it? Okay, so then to give yourself a little extra slip in there, a couple of things you can use. You could either use, if you have this from, if you have a Xero Pure or a Pure Water system and you have some this stuff, you can use that. It will work its way out of the brush and stuff, you'll be fine. Or you can just use some like dish soap. Nothing wrong with that. What I do always is I just put, I like the dish soap better. I just put a little bit of soap just like that. I don't even put it onto the actual Univalve. Ooh, one important step. Ready for this? Make sure you put this on here before you put this in here. Same thing with the other side. So then just work that on. You just really need enough that the clamp can work its way on there so you can pinch it down. My hands are very dry in this light. Winter time. So we're on there far enough. Let's get just to there. You don't really need to clamp down on the middle. All you really need to do is just do the ends. You'll feel it engage a little bit. Okay, that's all held onto there. And then we have the side that goes down. We'll try to use a newer one of these clamps on that. So we'll put this around the hose. We'll do the same thing. I know this is probably not the most fun video to watch if you're a veteran, but if you're brand new to water fed pole and you're like, what do I do to set up my pole? I think this really could help you. Okay, so same thing. Sometimes that happens and you scratch your hand. Just really enough to get the clamp. I tell you, I don't really think that these would ever come off of this hose, even if you didn't have the clamps, I'll be honest, but it's just good security, because it'd be a really big bummer if you have that thing 40 feet in the air and you're just working away and it just comes loose. So we're just gonna get it to there. That's fine. And then we're just gonna give it a little bit of a clamp. And we're just going to get the ends. Boom. Okay. So our Univalve is all good. Look at that water that just came out. I don't know why that water came out, but that's okay. So Univalve is installed. We're all good as far as that stuff goes. So, and now we're gonna get our brush all set up, okay? So what I'm actually gonna do, I'm gonna take this apart and I'm gonna show you everything I do with that. When you first get a brand new brush, like we're gonna talk about Tucker Boar's hair brushes here, or even really any Tucker brushes, is a 4 pencil jet Boar's hair 12-inch brush. Usually when you get it, it's gonna come and it's gonna have 3 fittings like this on some hose in the box, and then it's gonna be this block, and it's gonna have this on here. It's gonna have 2 screws. I'm not gonna use this, that's why I don't have the screws in it right now. So it's gonna look like that, and then if you're just using it normally, you will attach this like this. This is a different brand connector, so I'm not sure if that's gonna be long enough. Then you would just have a standard dingle adapter that goes in there, and then you have this attaching to that, which is going into your pole, which is holding it, right? So this is the way that I set mine up though, is I never use this as far as just straight with that. I always like a swivel. Some people though really like the pressure that you can provide on the glass with this setup without the swivel. But I just find with today's homes and buildings, you need that swivel angle just to do some of the stuff that you have to do. So this will come with 2 tiny screws to put this in the block. If you just get this and you want to just get a swivel on there, no rinse bar, then you're going to just buy a swivel and use the 2 screws that came with this to attach this. But we're also going to add a rinse bar on. If you get a rinse bar, it's going to come with longer screws that you're either going to use with this or this, and it's going to go on this side of the brush like that. And then those longer screws that you receive at the rinse bar will go through that and attach that. But this is the way that I set up my brush. I actually don't use these. Oh, they're very tight. So these are push to fits, right? So you push in, it releases. Push in, releases. Sometimes you get a little crazy with them and try to just pull them off as hard as you can. Okay, so that's gonna be to the side. One other thing that we are gonna have to do here before we get to that is we're gonna have to reinstall a walnut pad holder, Euro tip accessory right here, because you can see mine broke. I know we're moving fast here. Try to keep up. So I don't need any of these bolts. If you buy this kit, and it basically comes with this, I have it right now in here, but I'm gonna explain this as we go on after I set up this, but it's gonna come with a piece like this, right? Right now I have this broken piece in here. That's what I'm replacing. This is not the normal one, so you usually will not see this bend. That is something I did. So usually this all looks very, very flat, very, very good. As you can see, I'm probably not going to get the greatest pressure, but I'm doing something a little different with this as well. So that's you receive. This part is that part right there. So that's what is broken. So when I put this in, or if you receive it, you get it with some bolts so that it could work with this angle adapter or this angle adapter as well. So I'm gonna put these bolts to the side. So to attach that, very, very simple. We're just gonna undo this dial, and we're gonna keep this facing up. And we're gonna keep that nut in there. If you point this down, that nut will fall out, okay? We're just gonna release that. It's pretty well in there. Release that, put the new one in, put the new side on, get it looking okay. Switch around here, and we're just gonna put this right back on there. Put that down, and boom, you got that all set back up. Then best way to get these out, a freaking vice grip. Kind of realized that I'm just going to switch them and just throw this out and not even deal with this. Then we'll just put this there. This is why it's good to have lots of extra pieces around. Don't worry about it too much though. You'll acquire this stuff over your career. Okay, we got all that fixed. I will add this later, but that's just going to go on there. Okay, so this first, we are going to have the rinse bar here. So if you have a rinse bar, it's going to go in those two holes that are right there. Usually they're already there, right? And what I've done with my rinse bars, I've gone over this before, is I actually put JB Weld, because sometimes pressure at some sources can be really bad, but this has always been good, and I love rinse bars. So I keep that. Aluminum rinse bars are not available anymore, haven't been available for years. So just know that when you try to ask me that in the comments. So we're just going to install these screws again. Swivel over, install this here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So I have my brush configuration here. So next what I do is, so with this piece, and this is the walnut pad holder, right? All that good stuff. You have some options now of what you can do. So how you would use this, the walnut pad though, is that you would undo these and you would put the walnut pad under this. Since I don't have the original one, mine curves, so I can't do that. So that's why I am doing the mod that I'm doing, that I'm going to show you, that doesn't require all that, but that's the way the walnut pad attaches. And then, you know, bronze wool pads are pretty much gone right now. If they did, you would attach them onto these bolts and poke holes into the pad. It doesn't work with the walnut pad, so you just put them underneath. If you had the black part of the Euro thread for the female, you'd put it underneath that. Okay, so what I've been doing with this though, is I've been doing this. It's a little bit heavier, but I really like it. I made a whole video about this, so I'm not gonna talk about it in too crazy, but this is a Maker Handy sleeve. I will put the link so you can check this out in the description, but I'm not going to go too deep into this. But basically, this is a 10-inch handy sleeve. It holds just fine when you're on there for the amount of scrub you're doing. As you can see, it's just a tad bit loose in there, but it's not going to damage anything. And it's microfiber. I've been using this lately. I really like it. So that is going to go onto there like that. A little bit crazy of a brush, but I love it. Boar's here, I don't clean as much anymore, so this will get worn out in a season if you're doing a lot of work, so just know that. But yeah, I have other brushes too that I use, like this one. That you can see I just have like the smaller bolts, and that will attach to that. So from there now, what we will do is we are actually going to bring the hose into the top of the pole and bring it through the pole that way. We're not going to go back up through and re-go through the tip and all that stuff because you already have the Univalve attached. And the nice thing about doing it this way is that if you want to trade out water-fed poles and you want to go use your Xero Micro, all you got to do is go through the top and you can have the same exact setup that you're doing with this, and it doesn't take much to change. Or you can put a trad tip in there or whatever. So we just put this all the way through the pole. Okay, so final bit here. See, Univalve fits right into there. Boom. This goes down in. And then I want you to see here, there's this little piece right there that comes off right there. That's going to go into that. And when you clamp, this doesn't spin anymore. And we got our hose off of there. So this is Xero threads, right? This is Xero. This is the Tucker swivel. We've gone over that. And then we're just going to attach that on. And that's it. And then your hose is just going to go into there. Now, if we did what we did earlier with the connections here, you could hook to there as well. This is just how I set it up. So one other thing you can use in that same place that I did with this is a Tucker, basically, or RHG attachment that you can add like a wood cone to or something like that. If you want to just use you know, something else in place of that. Only thing I don't like about it is there's nothing right now that you can lock onto the Acme thread. So that's the only issue with it. So I don't like it, but if you want an Acme thread, you can add that in the same way that we added that whole adapter there as well. After that, there's really not a whole lot left to it. I would just coil up your hose. Looks like a mess, I know. And then if you want, you can buy these things. I could have made that a lot nicer. So don't grade me on that. Oh, it's nice if you want to store this in your van or truck or something like that. You can put that on there if you have a way to hang these up. But that is it as far as just kind of how to set up your water fed pole and all that good stuff. And yeah, if you have any questions about this, comment below. But I just want to do a walkthrough of everything, of how to set it up. Oh, and then really quickly, one last thing that your pole always come with and that you'll usually have is like a 5/16 adapter. This hose has a outer diameter of 5/16, and usually you got 3/8 hose coming from your system with a normal male garden outlet from the hose. You'll attach that to that, and then this most likely will be in it already, and you can attach that to that. There's some other ones that are just barbs and different stuff like that, and that's how you'll attach it to your water. But that's how I set up my water fed pole. Hope this has helped, and talk soon. Peace. Bye.